Welcome to Pastor's Chat today. We're looking at Psalm 95. 95 is a wonderful worship psalm that teaches us how to worship and why we should worship. Someone has said it's both an invitation, yet it ends with a warning. An invitation to worship, but a warning what happens and what takes place if we do not come and worship the Lord and keep Him in our focus, keep Him in our hearts, keep Him at the center of our worship and of our lives. It's a beautiful psalm. Now, Psalm 95 is a part of what we might call the theocratic psalms, psalms that have to do with the kingship of the Lord. I have written over this chapter in my Bible, we praise Him because He is a great God and He is a great King. He's not just a great King we're going to see in this passage. He is the great God. He is the great King. And we worship Him. He's above all kings. Now we notice that as you read this psalm, it's quoted in Hebrews chapter 4 and chapter 3. And as the writer of Hebrews quotes it, he actually gives the authorship to David, as it says in David, as quoted in Hebrews 4:7. And so it's possible that David wrote this psalm himself, but then it gets included in these theocratic psalms that we believe that are also coronation psalms. So it's a set of little psalms within a group of psalms, and it's about when the people of Israel, after they were in captivity, they went back to the land of promise, and there they rebuilt the temple, and they're celebrating the rebuilding of the temple, many believe. And so they took one of David's psalms, put it in this section of Psalms, and so that's why it ends up where it is in the book of Psalms, Psalm 95. It's a psalm that teaches again us to worship and why we should worship. So let's read some of these verses here, and it's a short psalm of 11 verses. Oh, come, let us sing to the Lord. Let us shout joyfully to the rock of our salvation. Let us come before His presence with thanksgiving. Let us shout joyfully to Him with psalms. For the Lord is the great God and the great King above all gods. In His hand are the deep places of the earth. The heights of the hills are His also. The sea is His, for He made it, and His hands formed the dry land. And so the psalmist here, David, if we believe that's him that wrote this psalm, is teaching us that we should worship the Lord in verse 1 and 2. Oh, come, let us sing. He says this is how we should worship. We worship with singing. We worship Him shouting joyfully to the God of our salvation. We worship Him with thanksgiving. And then again, let's shout joyfully to Him with psalms. Shouting joyfully, singing, giving thanksgiving, bringing praise to His name. Oh, we come before Him. Then He tells us how to worship in verse and why we should worship in verse 3. For the Lord is the great God, the great King above all the earth. Not only is He the great God and great King over all the earth, all the gods there's all these other religions that have gods, and they give, maybe you have the God of the weather, the God of the mountains, the God of this, the God who did this. But my friend, our God is the great God. There is none like Him. He made the earth. He made the seas. His hands formed the dry land. There is no God like our God, the great God. He made us. And we have a call to worship and praise Him. And so this is a beautiful psalm. We'll look at it the next couple days, but it's a psalm that you might want to have at the top of your worship list of psalms to read as God calls your heart to praise and worship Him. God bless you, and you have a wonderful, wonderful day.